Around here we always believe in giving credit where it's due and everything. And so, despite the fact that I very frequently and disagree with the libertarians on much, like most prominently the existence of the welfare state and the mixed economy that we live in, I agree with. I think it's a good thing, and I'm not against the mixed economy that we live under. I'm for it, and everything. In fact, I would probably make it um, more social services rather than less and better funded, and everything. But this comes my way, my desk today. And everything, the federal government has just indicted a man for having good security settings. Samuel Tunick flew home to Atlanta. CBP grabbed him at the airport, demanded his phone, and told him that they did not need a warrant. He had Graphene OS installed with a duress pin, a feature that wipes the device instead of locking it. The screen flashed, the data went away, and now he's facing a federal charge for destruction of property to prevent seizure. Read that again. They said they did not need a warrant to take it. Then they charged him with a crime for the state of the thing they did not need a warrant to take. The agents floated a child exploitation as a reason for the search. These lawyers say the actual interest was his association with Cop City opposition. Funny how that works. The scariest possible accusation gets deployed to the checkpoint, and the political one shows up in the paperwork later. Here's the principle. Here's the principle. Your phone is not a suitcase. It's your papers, your effects, your entire life. And the Fourth Amendment does not evaporate because you were standing on a particular square of linoleum at Hartford's Jackson. A duress pin is a lock. Refusing to open a lock is not obstruction. If the government wants what's behind it, there's a well-established procedure. It involves a judge. Encryption is not evidence of a crime, it's evidence that you were paying attention. I I agree fully with the Libertarian Party of Texas and its stance here on this one. In fact, I would go so far as to argue that 18U.S.C, statute, and this is under 2232 U.S. Code and notated Title 18 Crimes and Criminal Procedures 2232 destruction or removal of property to prevent seizure. Under Section A, the destruction of property to prevent seizure, who, before, during, or after any search for seizure of property by any person authorized to make any such search or seizure knowingly destroys, damages, wastes, disposes, transfers, or otherwise takes any action or knowingly attempts to destroy, damage, dispose of, transfer, or otherwise take any action for the purpose of preventing or impairing the government's lawful authority to take such property into its custody or control, to continue holding such property under its lawful custody and control, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years, or both. Now, I would argue that there is a sly attempt by the Gestapo, that is our government here, our police state, to conflate two separate issues entirely. One act falls under ordinary computer use and everything, which is the deletion of data with property destruction. These are two entirely separate matters. They are not related to each other in any way. Deleting data is, even in the secure fashion, and everything with zero filling, falls under the definite, falls under ordinary computer use. In fact, I you know, I delete data so frequently that it's basically routine at this point. It's not new, it's not exceptional, it's none of those things. And so my ultimate argument in defense of Samuel and everything in this whole thing. I would not find him guilty. Samuel Tunick, who basically, he's an Atlanta resident who used Graphene OS and used a duress pin to wipe the device. Well, wiping a device of data is ordinary computer use. It does not meet the definition of property destruction. And our police state is trying to conflate the two things together. The government may be upset that it was not able to get its data, but that doesn't mean that, the device was destroyed by this action. The device should still work as, simply a new, device without any user data on it. I think the government and the police state can cry and cry and cry about this one, but nothing was destroyed, within quotes here. Destroyed, here. Data was simply deleted, which is ordinary computer use, so no property has actually undergone the process of destruction.